Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I will be explaining the confusing timeline of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's like Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy and all that. And it's just come up because me and my dad went to see Avengers Infinity War the other day, and he was very confused. Well, not very. He was a bit confused about what was happening and stuff, because the timeline is just very, very confusing. So today I'll just be explaining, basically explaining important stuff within each film. I'm only doing the films because the TV shows I don't watch. And then at the end of it, I'd have come up with the proper order that you watch the films in. So let's start off with Iron Man. The first film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe was Iron Man in 2008. The only important things that happened in that was there was a post-credit scene with Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, and he was talking to Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, and Captain America's shield was in the background. That was left in by an editor as a joke, but they decided to leave it in. Then 6 months later, the Incredible Hulk. The Incredible Hulk is the second film, also in 2008. And Iron Man 2 in 2010 and Thor in 2011, they all happen at the same time, which is 6 months after the events of the first Iron Man. And in The Incredible Hulk, during the end of the film, Tony Stark talks to General Thunderbolt Ross, who's basically the main kind of villain, but not villain, but wants to kill Hulk because he thinks he's a danger. In Iron Man 2, at the end of the film, there's footage seen from the Incredible Hulk. There's a map with places, with other places within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Wakanda is one of those places, and there's a young Peter Parker. During the film, a young Peter Parker was saved by Iron Man. And in Thor, there was a post-credit scene of Loki watching Nick Fury and Eric Selvig discuss a Tesseract. Then in 2011, there was Captain America: The First Avenger, set in 1942. Tesseract appears. There's young Howard Stark, which is Iron Man's dad, and Nick Fury is in the final scene. Then we have the Avengers in 2012. Discussion, Disney, who owns Marvel, they wanted to include Oscorp Tower from The Amazing Spider-Man, because Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. They said it was never close to happening. Anyway, there's Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk instead of Edward Norton, who played the Hulk in The Incredible Hulk, and there was a mid-credit scene of Thanos, played by Damien Poitier. Then is set in December 2013 is Iron Man 3, which came out in 2013, but it's after the Avengers. The post-credit scene of Bruce Banner. Thor: The Dark World was set a year after the Avengers, also in 2013. And there's a mid-credit scene of the Collector from Guardians of the Galaxy. Captain America: The Winter Soldier in 2014, set 2 years after the Avengers. Doctor Strange is mentioned by name by Jasper Sitwell. The Shield is infiltrated by Hydra, and there's a post-credit scene of Avengers: Age of Ultron footage. Then there's Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one, which came out in 2014. It's set in 2014, so around the same time as Captain America: Winter Soldier. The Collector's Collection includes a Dark Elf from Thor: The Dark World, Chitauri from the Avengers, and Howard the Duck. And then there's Josh Brolin as Thanos instead of Damien Poitier. Then I included Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 on this page instead of with the other Phase 3 films because it's set 2 to 3 months after the first one, so that's still in 2014. The Grandmaster, aka Jeff Goldblum, from Thor Ragnarok, is seen during the end credits dancing before his appearance in Thor Ragnarok. Then there's Avengers Age of Ultron, which came out 2015. It confirms that the gem in Loki's scepter is an Infinity Stone, specifically the Mind Stone. Josh Brolin as Thanos in the mid-credit scene with an Infinity Gauntlet. References to Vibranium and Wakanda, which is Black Panther stuff, you know. And then Andy Serkis plays Ulysses Klaue, who's traditionally a Black Panther villain. He's the one who I think Ultron tries to kill first of all, like when the Avengers first find Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. So then Captain America: Civil War released in 2016, set 1 year after Avengers Age of Ultron. It's a mid-credit scene where Black Panther offers Captain America and Bucky Barnes, aka Winter Soldier, asylum in Wakanda. It introduces Tom Holland as Spider-Man and Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther to the MCU. And William Hurt reprises his role as Thunderbolt Ross from The Incredible Hulk. This is where it gets a bit confusing, really. Because several months, well, actually, 1 week after Captain America Civil War is Black Panther, which is released in 2018. As a post-credit scene of Sebastian Stan as Winter Soldier / Bucky Barnes, who wakes up because the Wakandans were trying to get rid of his Hydra brainwashing stuff. Spider-Man: Homecoming, released in 2017, set several months after Civil War. It's also 8 years after the Avengers. Because there's the first scene, the first part of it is Toomes, the villain, aka Vulture. His crew is taking stuff like Chitauri weapons and stuff. As it says there, various weapons, etc. from previous films referenced by Toomes' crew. As lesson, Peter Parker's class has a lesson about the Sokovia Accord, which is the main thing in Civil War. And then there's portraits of Bruce Banner, Howard Stark, and Abraham Erskine seen within the school. I don't know who Abraham Erskine is, but that is, the Thor Ragnarok is released in 2017. It's set around the same time as Spider-Man: Homecoming, Captain America: Civil War, and Black Panther. It's 4 years after Thor: The Dark World and 2 years after Avengers: Age of Ultron. Has Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, and Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange. I'll get onto that now because I missed it. So I'll get onto that after this. There's a post-credit scene of Thanos' ship Sanctuary 2, which is, the very end. When I first saw it, I thought it was Guardians of the Galaxy ship, because I'm a noob, and I don't watch Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't like it, it's terrible. And it reveals the Infinity Gauntlet seen in Odin's vault. Odin is Thor's dad. Seen in his vault in the first Thor film was fake. Doctor Strange, 2016, released in, introduces the Eye of Agamotto, which is the Time Stone. There's a mid-credit scene, which is footage from Thor Ragnarok, when Loki and Thor meet Doctor Strange. The events of the film take roughly a year to end up to date with the rest of the universe, so it's kind of set around the same time as Age of Ultron and Ant-Man. Oh my god, no, I forgot Ant-Man. I'm so sorry. I forget. Yeah, Ant-Man is set several months after Age of Ultron, as like when Ant-Man tries to infiltrate the Avengers HQ. He fights Falcon. There's a post-credit scene which is footage from Civil War. Anyway, I've made this even more confusing because I forgot Ant-Man and I forgot Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange probably set around the same time as Age of Ultron and Ant-Man because it takes a year to get up to date with the rest of the universe. And here we have the beauty that is Avengers Infinity War. 2 years after Captain America Civil War, Jeremy Renner, who plays Hawkeye, and Paul Rudd, who plays Ant-Man, are absent from the film, as it's mentioned in the film that they're under house arrest from Captain America Civil War because they got families. So, there's a post-credit scene of Nick Fury and Maria Hill disintegrating. Nick Fury just manages to transmit a distress signal on a device which has the insignia of Captain Marvel. Just in time, he managed to do that before he disappears. These are kind of spoilers if you haven't seen them. I should have mentioned that at the start. God damn it. There's also Red Skull from Captain America: The First Avenger appears, played by Ross Marquand instead of Hugo Weaving. He's the keeper of the final Infinity Stone, the Soul Stone. Here I just put the Infinity Stones, the Tesseract / Space Stone in Captain America: The First Avenger, Loki's Scepter / Mind Stone in The Avengers, the Aethia / Reality Stone in Thor: The Dark World, the Orb / Power Stone in Guardians of the Galaxy, and the Eye of Agamotto / Time Stone in Doctor Strange. Now here we have the last bits. These are upcoming films. Ant-Man and the Wasp, releasing in June 2018, I think it's June or July, is set between Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War because Scott Lang, aka Ant-Man, is under house arrest. There's Captain Marvel in 2019, that is set in the 1990s. The Skrull species are introduced to the MCU, has Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury, Lee Pace as Ronan the Accuser from Guardians of the Galaxy, Clark Gregg as Phil Coulson from the Avengers and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Then we have Avengers 4 in 2019. Well, it's untitled now, but everyone just refers to it as 4 because it's the fourth one. Ant-Man and the Wasp appear. It's continues straight from Infinity War. Captain Marvel, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, and the Wasp appear in the film. Josh Brolin as Thanos again. Everyone else from Infinity War is in the film because just I've already said it. Spider-Man: Homecoming sequel in 2019. It's set after Avengers 4, and it has Tom Holland in. Tom Holland is being announced as one of the cast members, so obviously he survives Infinity War and Avengers 4, and so they should have thought about that before killing him off, before disintegrating him. Then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 in 2020. It's set after Infinity War and the Avengers 4. And that probably, most likely, has Thingy-mabobby, who plays Peter Quill, Star-Lord. Most likely has him in it. And he also disintegrated in Infinity War, so anyway, there's some other information that may be useful or you want to know. In May 2013, the Hollywood Reporter newspaper reported that Marvel had a working script for a Blade film. In July 2015, Wesley Snipes, who played Blade in the 3 original films, before the character's rights reverted back to Marvel, stated he had discussions with Marvel to reprise the role. That's all that's been said on that. Anyway, the MCU could get even more confusing with Disney's purchase of 20th Century Fox, who owns the rights to X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Deadpool. as Marvel Studios wants to integrate them into the MCU after Avengers Infinity War. Sony, Sony have joint rights to Spider-Man after agreeing with Marvel to put him into Civil War. Making their own cinematic universe, Sony's Marvel universe, starting with Venom in 2018. They intend for it to share the world of Spider-Man Homecoming, which is in the MCU, as I already said. But after the deal that Sony and Marvel had to integrate Spider-Man into the MCU, although it's not in the MCU. Venom is not in the MCU, but they want it to share the world of Spider-Man Homecoming, which is in the MCU. It doesn't really make any sense. As Disney owns Lucasfilm, which is the Star Wars and Indiana Jones stuff, in the future, possibility. This is what I want to see happen. Basically, I want to see a crossover film of the X-Men, Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Pirates of the Caribbean, because Disney also owns that, and other Disney franchises, so like Toy Story, Cars, Incredibles. Yeah, X-Men, Fantastic Four, Avengers, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Pirates of the Caribbean, and The Incredibles. That would be an awesome film. Anyway, this video's gone on long enough. It's almost 20 minutes long, so I've got to get with the timeline. So, the films that you should watch in order, first of all, Captain America, First Avenger, because that was set in 1942, during the World War II. That was released in 2011. Captain Marvel, which is going to be released in 2019, because that's set in the 1990s. And Iron Man, which was released in 2008. And then The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, and Thor. It doesn't really matter what order you watch them in, as long as you watch them one after the other. Then you have the Avengers, then Iron Man 3, and Thor the Dark World, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, and then Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Then Avengers Age of Ultron, and then Ant-Man, and then Doctor Strange I've just put in there because I assume like Doctor Strange and Ant-Man, so like they're around the same time. For like Age of Ultron and Doctor Strange, not Ant-Man. Ant-Man's definitely after Age of Ultron. Then we have Captain America Civil War, and then Black Panther, and then Spider-Man Homecoming, and then Thor Ragnarok, because that's around the same time as them. Then Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is the confusing bit. Well, no, and then Avengers Infinity War. Ant-Man and the Wasp is the bit confusing, because it's somewhere in between Civil War and Infinity War, but we don't know whereabouts. So I've put it at the end because it's the latest one, but it could be anywhere in between. And then we have Avengers 4, and then Spider-Man Homecoming sequel, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Spider-Man Homecoming 2, they are probably around the same time, because all the information that's been said is they're after Infinity War and its sequel. So this has been alright. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.